everyone, and welcome to the Insta Gamers Network. And on today's show, we're going to talk about set collection. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hi everybody, charmbo.gamer here, and this episode of the Insta Games Network will be looking at games which focus on set collection, and I would like to show you one of the more recent games in my collection, and that is Quests of Valeria. Let's take a look. The game consists of a citizen's deck and a tavern line. The numbers above each card in the tavern line represent the cost of that particular citizen to hire. Above that you have 6 available quests and the quest deck. Each player is given 3 cards and his secret role. Thematically, the game plays out very similar to Lords of Waterdeep. In fact, you could almost call it Lords of Waterdeep, the card game. You play the role of a famous guild master in Valeria, and you're all about gaining characters to go out and complete quests for you for special abilities and victory points. During setup at the beginning of the game, each player will be given a secret role card, and it will just help with endgame scoring for completing certain types of quests. Here's one of Rado. Looks excellent too. The card art is fantastic. So on your turn, you can take 2 actions. You can draw, you can hire, you can reserve, or you can quest. Let's take a look. The first action you can take is actually an easy one. You can just draw a card from the citizen deck and add it to your hand of cards. The next action you can take is to hire. I think I might hire this knight. It's going to cost 1, so I have to discard 1 card from my hand, and I can put the knight into my tableau. Okay, so I will discard the peasant to pay for my knight, and now I get the hire ability. So I can actually draw a card from the citizen deck, and I can reserve a quest. So I think I might reserve this commerce quest. Let's take a quick look at a citizen card layout. This tells us what type of citizen the card is, which will help us complete quests, and also the resources this citizen will provide us to help us complete quests also, and also the special power or ability we will get when we hire the citizen. The fourth action you can take is to complete a quest. I actually think I can complete this adventure quest. So to complete this quest, I need 1 soldier icon, I need 2 magic and 2 strength. So I'll take a look at the citizens I have in my tableau. Well, I've got the 1 soldier icon, I have the 2 magic, and between the knight and the squire, I have 2 strength. So therefore, I can complete this quest. This will give me 2 victory points. It'll allow me to draw a card from the citizen deck and hire another character from the tavern. The citizens that I used gets discarded, and the quest that I completed gets placed face down in my tableau, so we can add all the victory points up at the end of the game. And the game ends when you've completed your 5th quest. At that time, you reveal your secret identity card, you add up your victory points, and whoever has the most points wins. So there you have it, Quests of Valeria. It's a very fun, rules-light, portable game. If you like Lords of Waterdeep, or if you like the other Valerian games, you'll really like this one. And the art is just fantastic. Daily Magic Games have knocked it out of the park with the artwork again. I'm GirlyGamer, and I'll see you on Instagram. Oh, here is a quick behind-the-scenes shot of my camera stand. As you can see, I'm all about having the right equipment.
Hello, it's Lindsay here, or as you might know on Instagram, shinyhappymeeples, and this episode we're talking about set collection games. So I want to tell you a little bit about Dream Home, which is a very sweet but almightily tricky set collection memory game where your aim is to create the best home possible on your adorable little house board. How cute is that? We start with our house board and a central marketplace where players have 4 pairs of cards to choose from, or may take the space with only 1 card to become start player. The cards consist of rooms, decor and helpers such as architects who give you special abilities and bonuses. There are also roof cards of various colours. Each turn you choose a pair and place the cards on your board. You must place both cards each turn. If they cannot be placed legally, they're laid face down as empty rooms and points go to waste. There are some simple rules about where you can place your cards, such as you cannot build above empty rooms. You can only use certain cards for a lower ground floor, like the wine cellar for example, and you maximise points when more than one type of room is adjacent to another. For example, a living room on its own will score you 1 point, when next to a second 4 points, a third 9 points. When you pick up roof cards, they are placed face down at the bottom of your board. Sets of 3 or more and sets of matching colours will count towards end of game scoring. Decor can be purchased and placed only if you have the room it belongs in on your board already. You must have a kitchen, bedroom and 2 bathrooms on the upper floors of the house for additional end of game points. I was a little bit concerned at first that Dream Home would perhaps be a little bit too light for me, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that I was still challenged by it. And I think it's quite good like that. It's appropriate for new gamers or non-gamers, but also got enough going on for the more experienced gamer to enjoy. And apparently I've got a really horrible memory because I can never remember what coloured cards I put down in my roof pile. So I guess I need to practice more or play more memory games. I think that if you're looking for a decent little set collection game that's fairly light but still quite challenging, then Dream Home's a good one. So check it out. And thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Ever since I was a kid in school, I can remember loving history, and specifically European history. I remember reading about the conquests and civilizations of the Greek and Roman people and just absolutely loving the stories that came around their culture and their ways of life. Now that being the case, it's probably a good reason why I love Euro games. One of my favorite Euro games has got to be Palazzo, a Renaissance-era building and set collection game. Palazzo is a set collection and auction game designed by Rainer Knizia. In it, players will compete to construct the most valuable palace. The higher the palace, and the more windows and doors it has, the more valuable it becomes. If you have the most valuable palace at the end of the game, you win. Each building tile that you will acquire on a turn is unique. When you build onto your palace, you can only build in increasing numerical increments. You can't have the same number floor in the same palace. The types of buildings can be mixed, and the number of windows and doors can vary. Players must immediately build tiles they acquire and can only do so on top of other tiles. You can rearrange later in the reconstruction phase. If you acquire a tile you do not want, you can place it in a discard pile after you purchase it. This is a good way to avoid negative points at game end. To buy tiles, you of course need money. There are 3 types of currency in Palazzo, and you must use the same type currency for each purchase. There are also wild currency cards, which are the only cards that can be mismatched with other currency. When buying, you can also play 3 identical cards to give you a base value of 15. On their turn, a player can do one of 3 things. You can take money, buy or auction a tile, or reconstruct your palaces. When taking money, players draw 1 more card than the number of players. He takes 2 of those cards, and then the other players take 1. There is no limit to the amount of money a player can hold. The next action a player can take is the buy or auction action. When a player does this, he draws the top 2 tiles from the current building stack and places them in the right place. The first one goes in the quarry with the corresponding amount of windows. The second goes in the material supply, which is the playing area in the middle. To purchase a tile in this area, a player must decide on buying 1 or 2 tiles. He then must pay the right amount for them. Tiles in the building supply are worth 10 minus the amount of tiles in that area. So in order to buy 2 of these tiles, a player must pay 12, 6 apiece. There is no change making in Palazzo, so you need to make sure a purchase is worth it for you. If a player decides to auction tiles instead of buying, he first moves the master builder. This guy helps you decide which tile goes where when placing tiles, but also which quarry will be auctioned. Wherever he lands, that's where the auction takes place. The player who started the auction uses this common bid card worth 3 money and uses that as a starting bid. Players then compete for the current auction block. When you auction, you're competing for all of the tiles on any given quarry. The player who wins the auction pays all of his bid and builds the tiles immediately. Remember though, you can discard a tile if you want. The last thing a player can do on his turn is reconstruct his palaces. When doing so, he can take a single tile from any one of his towers and place it in or onto a palace, or even, again, discard it. We all know that buildings work that way. Bring it in. The game ends when this mosaic is completed by drawing its tiles out of the building stacks. At this point, players use this scorecard to count up the value of their palaces. The player with the most points at the end of the game wins. Now, Palazzo plays really quickly. I've even completed some two-player games in about 30 minutes. So that being the case, you can play multiple times in one sitting. It's got really beautiful artwork, and it's a part of the Alita and Rio Grande bookshelf series that'll look really nice end to end. So I definitely recommend picking up a copy. If you're looking for a good set collection game, recommend Palazzo.
Hey friends, Chubby Meeple here, ready to talk to you about a great little family game from Stronghold Games designed by Friedman Fries. That game is called Fabled Fruit. It's a fun little family game, ages 8 and up. Let's jump to the table, give you a really quick run through of the gameplay, and you can decide if it looks like something you might want to dig a little deeper into. Let's check it out. Fabled Fruit is a 2 to 5 player Fable game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. 2 to 5 players, ages 8 and up, designed by Friedman Fries, and published by Stronghold Games. Fable game, it's essentially a legacy game where you're not destroying any components. No stickers, no tearing up of cards, but the gameplay changes over time. So as you're playing and progressing through the game, you're going to be unlocking new locations from the location stack that will be added to the table, which gives you more complex gameplay, some more complex rules. But the nice thing about it is you save the game, you bag up what you have on the table in its own separate little baggie so that you can come back and set it right back up to start over. So there's no component destruction, so you can easily reset and start back from the beginning at any time. So to set up a game of Fabled Fruit, every person is going to take one of the animal characters. So maybe I want to be the little yellow giraffe, and I'll also take the cardboard punch out just to remind me which character I am. We'll set up for a 3-player game, so we'll have the elephant go there. We'll set the penguin off to the side here. These 3 people that aren't being used, the sheep, the snake, and the turtle, can go away. And all of these components you see here, the fruit cardboard punch-outs, the little monkey thief token, these will all be used later. These all come into play with later locations that come out. So these can all be, for your first game, removed as well. So you're not dealing with those. You'll also deal 2 fruit cards to each player. So everyone's going to have 2 cards that get dealt out to them. And then with the first player, I will simply take, when it's my turn, I simply take my giraffe, I place them on a location, and I do what the location says. In this case, it says to draw 2 fruits, and we'll take a closer look at these cards. The cards all have little cute animal print. It's got an action at the top. It's got a fabled fruit recipe at the bottom, or fabled juice recipe. So in this case, this particular juice needs 3 pineapple fruit cards as well as a wild, which is what the little smoothie indicator is. And they're also numbered. You see the number 1 in the upper left-hand corner. The locations are numbered 1 through 59. So there's a lot of locations. And you actually have 4 of each location, and then 8 of location 59. So what's going to happen? So I moved my little guy on here. I get to draw 2 fruit cards and add them to my hand. My turn is now over. So from there, what's going to happen is the penguin will take his turn. He's going to go here. He gets to offer 1 fruit to everyone, so he gets to follow along with that instruction. You have the giraffe. He's going to exchange 1 banana for 2 fruits, so he's going to turn a banana from his hand in. He's going to get 2 fruits from the top. And then it comes back to me, and I'm going to move my giraffe over here to location 3. Now, instead of taking the action, I have the option of spending the fruit at the bottom and making this fabled juice, because the object of the game is to get the fabled juices before anyone else does. So this particular juice is going to cost 3 grapes and a wild, which is and a smoothie, which is a wild. So I have my 3 grape cards, and I'll just throw a strawberry out there as well. So these cards get discarded, and I take the top location card from location 3, and I flip it down face down in front of me so that I now have one of the fabled juices. In a 3-player game like we're looking at here, the winner will be the first person to purchase 4 of these fabled juices, so it can go pretty quickly. A 2-player game, you would need 5, and then for a 4 or 5-player game, the winner is the first to buy 3 fabled juices. So it goes around the table pretty quickly. Now that I've bought a fabled juice, the next location actually comes out. So I take the top card from the location deck, and I place it in its own pile. In this case, location 7 is not already on the board, so it starts its own pile. Now, if it goes around, let's say the elephant player moves down here, and he purchases this particular fabled juice, another location comes out. Location 7's already on the board, so it simply gets added to the stack. So you will always have 24 cards that you can move between. Sometimes it may be 6 piles of 4 like you start the game. Sometimes you could have 8 or 9 different piles out here, but there will always be a total of 24 cards, so that when you're ready to pause the game and save your progress, you simply take all of the cards, stack them up in numerical order. Again, you're only going to have 24 of them. You bag those up so that they're fine. You also bag up any fabled juices that have been purchased separately, so these no longer show up in the next game. Those locations are now gone. And then you can reset the next time and start over. So the Fable version of being able to reset the game, kind of save your progress and restart, is fantastic in this.
Hello everyone, my name's Annette, and you might know me on social media as nettersplays, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Butterfly Garden and why I like this game as a great set collection game. So every player is going to get these reference cards. This is pretty much going to tell them what to do on their turn, also any special actions, and this is the jar where they're going to collect all of their butterflies. These cards right here are the different sets that each player is going to try to be collecting throughout the game, whether they're yellow, green, purple, or whatever colors they are, and that's how many points they're going to get. So first, in order to complete these sets and put them in your jar, you're going to need to go out into the field and collect these different butterflies. Every player is going to start off with 3 cards. From these 3 cards, you're going to pick and choose which card to play to determine turn order. Now you do this secretively, and every other player is also going to do the same. But whoever has the lowest numbered value gets to pick and choose which card they want first. If any of the butterflies have a special action, then you get to do that as well. After you capture your butterflies, you're going to place them in your jar, just like so. Eventually, you might start acquiring more and more butterflies in your jar. After you capture several butterflies, you can always then deliver them into your garden if you have those certain sets. So for example, I can deliver these along with these butterflies to get 7 points. I don't get any of the leftover butterflies, but that's okay because you get 7 points. So play is going to continue pretty much you collecting these different butterflies and then delivering them in your garden, and that's pretty much it until you acquire a certain amount of points based on how many players you're playing with. So one really cool thing about this game is the theme and the setting it's going to present for the gameplay itself. Now, the theme itself is all about going into the field and collecting all these beautiful butterflies, putting them in your jar, and then you're releasing them in your beautiful butterfly garden. And you're collecting all these different points by collecting these different sets. Now, it's a really casual and light and friendly game, and because of the theme of it all, it doesn't make it too competitive or too serious of a game. That's something I really enjoy about it. Another thing I really enjoy about the game is not only it being casual, but also very easy to teach and understand. Now, you're going to have these potential point scoring cards out, and so everyone's going to pretty much see exactly what they're going to need to collect, and they're also going to see how much they can score points. You're going to be playing these different cards from your hand, so you can easily see what people are going to be attracted to or not. These player aids also make it very helpful for all players to kind of see exactly what they need to do on their turn. So there's not too much of a complexity in this game, but yet it's a lot of fun and it's easy to get into. So that's why I like the Butterfly Garden, because it's just plain and simple and it's all about collecting beautiful butterflies.
Hi, my name's Dave Adams, and you might know me as Nerd of Wisdom on Instagram. Now, today I didn't want to bring you one of the hottest games around, or even a game that you probably heard of. I'm bringing you a little small set collection card game called 5 Crowns. 5 Crowns was created by Set Enterprises, who were also known for creating the game Quiddler and the game Set, another game which would probably have been a good choice for this topic. The game was released in 1996 and plays between 1 to 7 players. The game is very simple. It's a rummy style game. So if you've ever played a rummy game, you probably know how to play 5 Crowns. One of the big differences is with this set of cards is that there's an extra set in there, thus making 5 different sets or 5 crowns because there's 5 kings. And each set is missing the 2 and the 1. So each set starts with 3 and moves through to the king. The game plays out in 10 rounds, with the object of each round being to collect a book, which is a collection of 3 or more cards of the same number but different suits, or a run, which is a collection of consecutive cards of the same suit. When your hand has a complete set of books or runs with no remaining cards left over, you're allowed to place your hand out onto the table and therefore score 0 points. Everybody else at the table has the chance to put down what they have and score the remainder. Each set of cards has wild cards, which with the Joker, the standard wild card that you're used to seeing in card games. But in addition to that, each round has its own wild card based on the number of cards in your hand. So if you begin the round with 3 cards in your hand, then the number 3 is the wild card. Next round you begin with 4 cards, and so the 3 is no longer the wild, but the 4 is the wild and the Joker. It goes on right up to round 10, where the kings are the wild cards themselves. So it's just a simple rummy game. You collect a set of cards. It's basic. And it's a game that I've happily brought out with families and friends for any number of years now, and always to quite a relative high level of success. But that's not why I love the game. I love the game just for its personal attachment to me. When I first became a teacher, I decided that I wanted to go out and teach in remote Australia. So I went out to Central Australia and I taught out in one of the most remote communities that they had out there. And there was just a few people that I could talk to and spend time with. And we spent our time playing this game. We would play round after round. We would have dinner parties at each other's houses playing this game. We would have afternoons just sitting around playing this game. We would take our Saturdays and just sit down playing this game. And I had a lot of fun. But the thing that occurred out of it was around that gaming table were the friendships that developed. The fact that we got to know each other. We started to take an interest in each other's lives. And I really value those times. So when I hear the word set collection, this is one of the first games I think of, because it was this game that taught me that gaming isn't just about winning or losing. It's about the relationships. It's about the other people at the table. So I hope that you'll give this game a try. Until next time, I'm Dave Adams.
Hi everyone, I'm the Board Game Renegade. So I was thinking long and hard about which set collection game I could put on this video. And I was like, you know what? I know the perfect game. Now this game isn't all set collection, but it is an important mechanism in the game. So why not? You may think I'm cheating, and if I am, I'm sorry, but the game I want to talk to you about is Pandemic. And yes, it does have set collection. Let me show you. So in Pandemic, there are 4 diseases of different colors. There's yellow, red, blue, and black. These diseases are spreading around the world, and they are represented by these cubes on different countries. The amount of cubes on a country represents the intensity of the disease. A country could only hold 3 cubes, and there is a risk of them outbreaking and spreading to neighboring countries. Since this is a cooperative game, the players are working together, globetrotting, removing cubes to prevent outbreaks, and they're also trying to meet up with each other in different locations to trade information. Because to get rid of these diseases, the players have to collect 5 cards of their color. Right here I have 4, so they have to collect 5 cards of their color and make their way over to one of these research stations in order to discard these cards, or this set of cards, to cure the disease. So we're trying to collect sets of different colors cooperatively. So let's say this red pawn is right here, and this is the cards that the red player has in their hand. This player could go here and remove a disease cube from here while they're at it, and then make it over here to Beijing. And since this player has the Beijing card, the player could give the Beijing card to a player that is in that spot. So that player hands it to the black player. The black player now has 5 red, and now on a future turn, the black player can make it over to a research station, play the 5 cards, and now the red is cured. Once all 4 colors are cured, the game is over and the players win. And if the players do not do that by the time that this deck runs out, or by the time this reaches the outbreak station right here, or if the players ever have to put down a cube of a specific color and there are no more cubes, the players lose. And that's it. That's Pandemic. I was right. It does have set collection.
I hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully we picked some games that you didn't know about. And if you want to go ahead and suggest any other set collection games that you also recommend, just leave it below in the comments. Also, make sure to subscribe, and you can also follow us all on Instagram. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye!